Welcome. Thank y'all for being a part of this. I'm probably going to edit this in bloopers. Like, oh my God, the first
yes.
Yes, I'm doing it. Welcome to Tell Me More with Jaquaiw and Friends. Today I am super excited to do my first episode. This show is all about exploring different lifestyles, different art forms, different situations that maybe I thought I was open-minded about, but I didn't know much about. Do you have an alter ego?
So my alter ego is Lyric J. I was in a hip hop group a long time ago with my brother, and we were called the Psych Ward, and that was my name that I recorded under. And it gave me the freedom to just kind of sing whatever I wanted to sing and things like that. So it's Lyric with a K and then J at the end.
I think, I don't know if I'm sure, but I think the first time I saw a drag show, it was me and you. I think we were at somewhere where they had strong ass drinks. I think
that's all the gay bars.
Like our second stop. It had two levels. BJ's or J and J.
It's probably S4.
S4 because it has the second level with the circle around for seating.
But then and then downstairs it was a show. So that was my first show. And let me be honest, like when I hang out with you in what do you call it? Do they still call it the Village?
Well, pretty much people call it the Strip or they call it the Gayborhood. One of the two.
That's derogatory, first of all, the Gayborhood. Because it doesn't include the other acronyms.
It doesn't.
You know what it doesn't, but I call it the Gayborhood as well, because I kind of feel like gay as a term is like Coca-Cola. So like you say, I want a Coke. And even though that's a name brand of like Coca-Cola, it could possibly mean like Pepsi. It could mean a Sprite. So then you clarify, well, what kind of Coke do you want? Oh, I want a Pepsi. And so for me, I don't find it offensive, as a queer, individual. I'm kind of like, it's an umbrella, like, but I'm only one person. So I'm going to
Texas style. Because I did notice when I moved here, everybody was drinking Coke, and I was like, what is the obsession with Coca-Cola?
Exactly. Yes. Maybe it is a Texas thing. It could quite be a Texas thing. Yes, absolutely.
We're going to go with Gabriel. And if everyone's wondering, because she's jumping right in and I'm loving it, this is our lovely Brandi Amara Skyy, our special guest today, the first guest of Tell Me More.
Yay!
Let me tell you something about Amara Skyy. She is a writer. She's an artivist. She's a queen. Okay? And when I met Brandi, I met her at an artist support circle. Yes, it was like group. Yes. It's like, hi, my name is jaquaiw and I'm afraid of my own powers. Yes, it was one of those type of situations. Yes, it was Artist Way. We're putting Artist Way on the map. Artist Way is going to be a gang soon. It's the Artist Way. You won't mess nobody in my Artist Way circle. Nobody. But that's like really how I feel now. But I met Amara, and Amara, we get to go around and share. And she introduced herself. And first of all, I noticed that she had her feet up on the seat, like she was like with her knee up. She had found her own like comfort. And I was like, that's a woman who don't give a damn. Okay, she's going to get in her position of comfort. And then she said, I am a drag artist. I think that was the term you used. And so I was like, and I had to straighten my face because I have a horrible poker face. Like, I react to everything. So I was just like, so as everyone else kept sharing, I did not care. I mean, okay, no offense to my other artists, white people, I love y'all. But I was stuck. I was stuck on the drag thing because in my head, I was like, I got a gay best friend. I got a gay husband, Jamil. You know what I'm saying? I know all about the gays. I'm an expert. You know how you feel when you got a black friend. You know what I mean? So I was like, y'all unmute because y'all, we need the laughter.
Oh my God.
That is, oh my gosh. Yeah, I have a black friend, y'all. I have a gay friend, y'all.
Right.
That was awesome.
Like, I was like, I know everything about gay people because I've been hanging around with Jamil for 3 years straight. I know it all. That's how I felt until she said she was a drag. So my brain was stuck, and my ADD would not allow me to, like, everyone else was like, womp, 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 womp. And when it came around, like, to the time where we could mingle, I was just like pushing my way through people like, excuse me, I gotta get to the drag queen. Excuse me. I didn't know there was women drag queens, you know? Like, I had to just go ahead and put my ignorance out there. Like, I did not know. And so, in all honesty, when I was watching like RuPaul Drag Race, and I'm like, oh man, I feel like, you know, or Tuong Fu, one of my favorite movies. I was just like, you know, that's their thing, you know, I can't really get into that, but it looks so much fun. It looks like so much fun. So I was immediately curious, and I wanted everybody to know that women could be drag queens, and I want to know how I can lace me up, shawty. Corset, lace me up. I'm trying to know what it's like. I'm trying to get in the drag game because I know I'm a triple threat, maybe a quadruple threat. I'm trying to be a
What is that? Like a
Quit.
5?
Okay.
What would that be?
Quintup. Listen. God damn it.
Oh.
Tricks trying to trick me into doing math. I ain't doing it. Here's an opportunity. Exactly. But change our, and can you enlighten us? And she has written a book. I have posties because I am studying it. But it is How to Be a Drag Queen. How to Be a Drag Queen, a guidebook for female drag queens and emerging drag artists. So that's
Yes.
She's on the show because she wrote a whole book. So if you got a whole problem with why she feel like she should have an opinion or some say so, I just want you to look at the thickness of this book.
But it's not just me either. So, I mean, yes, I did write this book, but I also asked 19, I believe it was, of my favorite drag artists and the drag artists that inspired me to be included in this book. And some of them are really big names, you know, not that I need to tell you or authenticate the fact that, you know, yeah, like I've been doing this for a long time, but you know, Tommy Ross is a legend in the drag community. She's like one of the first Black trans drag queens. She has every title in the fucking world, like, and her advice is in here too. And so it was really important to me that, yes, it is a thick book and I did write all of it, but it's not all my advice either, because drag, it's really important to me, especially in an art that is very so subcategory. There's so many multiple dimensions to drag that I didn't want this to be one person's opinion on how to do drag, because there is no one opinion. There's no one right way to do drag. And I say that over and over again in this book. Drag is all about your personal journey into it and through it. So I just wanted to say that real quick.
Is there a particular icon that inspires you, that for your looks or even just for your personality type on stage?
I think, you know, there's no really one person. I think my inspiration, my drag inspiration is a little bit different than most people. I come to drag as a way, girl, do you have wine? I'm a little bit mad right now that I didn't bring my wine. Oh, okay,
Y'all want to
fine.
take a wine break? We can take a
No. I just saw the glass and I was like, oh my God, no. But for me, it's not really an icon. Like Brandi Amara Skyy was a persona that I created based off of a lot of different kind of artists that I love. Like I love Frida. Like right now I'm exploring, you know, my brownness in drag. Before it was very, I have a modern dance. I have a very extensive dance background. I was a modern dancer. I was a belly dancer. I was a Tahitian dancer. I was a ballet dancer. I was a hip hop. I was jazz. So I was exploring that in my drag. And so I think more than just like one icon, I think for me, inspiration has always been about how I can integrate like all these other sides of myself and how I can channel that into drag. And so Brandi Amara Skyy is kind of a culmination of everything that I'm interested in my I call it my boy drag, my day drag life. You know, everything that she's interested in, I explore it on stage, you know, as Brandi Amara Skyy.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, go ahead. No.
But so many different levels of dance. I was wondering if strip dance was one of them.
I did actually. I only did it when I was 18, and I did it for about maybe about 3 months because I was really curious about.
Joke. I did not expect you, but this is good.
Yeah, no, I did.
Tell me more.
I think I'm one of those people that will try everything at least once. Like I want to experience everything. And I think for me, it was really important for me to, if I'm going to talk about something, I need to experience, that's for me personally. And so I wanted to see what was the big deal? What was this all about? And so, but that was also a point, I came from it from a point of privilege. So my experience is going to be totally different than somebody that that has to do it. So I also want to preface with that my experience of it was privilege. Like I had the privilege of going in there knowing this wasn't going to be,
a
way to provide for
exactly.
life.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I got some stories. I don't want to give y'all too much. It's only episode 1.
I know. Yeah, you gotta hold
Girl,
them
me
back.
too. Because I also studied dance as well for a very long time. Like I started at like 6, and I did dance a little bit in the club arena, you know, for a few months.
I think we think about it, but it was more prevalent when Beyonce kind of came up with the whole Sasha Fierce thing. And I thought that was a very drag mentality too. Like,
absolutely.
You know, she's creating a barrier for, you know, but this is partly like her artistic expression from within. Like,
yeah,
I totally get it. Another question, when you started, did you find like it was really catty with the boys? With your men, did you like, was there any Players Club scenes in the dressing room? Like, tell me.
No, I had a unique experience when I started drag because I was already involved in the community. So I'm not originally from Dallas. I'm from Corpus Christi. So when I moved to Dallas, I moved to Denton to go to school. But then I moved to Dallas because I started working at the Resource Center, which is Dallas's LGBTQ HIV/AIDS community center. And so I worked there in 2006. So when I started drag here in Dallas, I was already a part of the community. So it wasn't like I was somebody that was outside coming in. Like I was already, I was part of Gay Bingo, I was part of these fundraisers. So people saw me in the community and they knew me. And at that point they were like, well, of course you're a drag queen. Of course you're going to do drag. Like, so it wasn't like oh, what is this, girl doing? Although there were moments, especially, when I decided to take it seriously, because that was in 2006, 2007, and there was no female drag queens here in Dallas. And so it was kind of like, well, what is this? You know, I think it was more from, you know, people who maybe outside of the community that were kind of like, but then at the same time, they didn't know if I was, you know, cisgender, cis male. They didn't know my gender, which was part of what I wanted anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Explain that, because I think, you know, and especially I was on another virtual happy hour, and we were talking about queer, the difference between queer and gay, and the gender thing. Even when you use cis female, I literally had to, and that was another thing I didn't want to admit, but I'm okay with it now, I guess, since we're talking about everything. I Googled cis female as you were talking, introducing yourself as well, because apparently I thought Jamil did not educate me.
Now look now.
My gay friend.
I'm not your gay encyclopedia.
Exactly.
It's supposed to be my resource.
Oh.
Listen, in my day, we were just, hey, lesbians and bad words for lesbians and bi. There was only 3 options, or bi-curious or kissing cousins. You know, but we're not gonna talk about that.
Yeah. You know, I think, you know, I think we get so lost in semantics sometimes, and I get the need for all of that. But I think we as humans are so much more complex, especially if we identify in the queer spectrum. So like if I say I'm cis female, yes, I was born, you know, I was assigned female at birth, which is another acronym, ABFAB, you know, assigned female at birth. Yes, I was born as a female, but that doesn't really tell somebody about the complexities and the in and out and the waves that I feel as somebody who was born female. And so, well, I get that it's, you know, it's nice to have these little boxes. I think we're too complex of beings to just be like, oh, I'm, you know, cis, because sometimes I feel a lot more, you know, male than I do female. And I think we all, you know, flux up and down, unless of course you're like Trump or somebody who has like this hyper masculinity. But I think a lot of us have always fluxed, you know, up and down on that spectrum. We're just now being able to identify it and call it that, you know, it's now just maybe a little bit more accessible, maybe is the right word. So
yeah, and I think it's like it's a tangible tangible meaning to it. It's not just a tomboy.
Yeah.
Or oh, he is like a little, he's feminine, he's effeminate, or whatever.
Got a little sugar in his tank, a little light in the loafers. This is a Southern thing, you know.
He's a sweet one.
Yeah. You know, another term that I think that has been used to describe female drag queens has been bio queen. What's your stance on how you feel about that term? And then also kind of, what do you feel about the reality show competitions within drag? Because there's 2 kind of basic, like the biggest ones are going to be RuPaul's Drag Race and Dragula. RuPaul's Drag Race, they don't accept anyone who is assigned female at birth or if they're transgender. And then Dragula has an open concept. If you are a drag king and you dress up as a man, whatever it is, concept artist, they allow that. How do you feel about that from a competition standpoint?
I love it. Like I've always felt that for me personally, and I think anybody who loves drag for the art of it really wants to compete on a level of art with all artists in general. But I think that's true of like any art, you know, any person who sees what they're doing as art. I think you want to compete or be amongst like the top tier of artists, you know. I think I love Dragula. Like I love that concept, you know. RuPaul, it serves a different purpose, you know. Like I think they're 2. I think one is really representational of our community, and I think the other is commercialized. Like it's very much for a mainstream audience, you know, that it's for a mainstream audience that just has its roots in the queer community. But I mean, well, yeah, we can kiki and haha and be like, oh my God, I love it. It's not necessarily for us. I mean, what is for us is like a Dragula or, you know, a Miss Gay US of A, or, you know, these other, you know, pageants that really kind of run the gamut of all inclusivity of drag. Because like Miss Gay US of A or the US of A pageantry system has all divisions. I mean, I was the first, you know, AbFab, you know, Diva US of A, you know, 2014, and they have a drag king, they have, you know, a classic, they have, you know, diva, they have the full scope of everything. They don't compete together, which I think would be really like the next evolution for them, but they were all inclusive from the get-go. Like my stance on that. But I think the term bio queen, again, I think that it's not a term that I've ever used, because for me, drag is not about gender, it's about queer expression. And so there's really no gender to it. And I think bio kind of puts the gender onto drag. I don't find offense to it, but I'm also not trans. I'm not, you know, in that space. And I think, you know, to each their own. If you want to call yourself, I don't know, a globe queen or whatever, to each their own, you know, as long as you're not physically hurting somebody, you know. But I'm of that generation where it's like semantics, like I don't get offended by words except for a few, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Those good old fighting words.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about. So many nuances that have developed that it's almost like, well, I don't know who to talk to about this because I have questions and I'm going to sound ignorant when I ask them, and you're going to be annoyed. But hey, you know,